that's common to all of us, and something that we talk about a lot, but sometimes we don't really capture what it means to us or what it looks like in everyday life. And I just wanted to talk about love. There's a lot to say about it, and a lot of directions we can go in when it comes to love. And I realized there was a story that went on in my life for the last 3 months that captured everything about love that I love. And it's my son. He is 18 years old. He's highly functioning, autistic. And I've been working with him for 18 years. And most autistic children have something that they really love and they excel at. And they only like one thing, they learn everything about it, and truly nothing else in the world matters. And for my son, it's baseball. Since he was 10 years old, he has been playing baseball. He learned to field to play baseball. All he wanted to do was hit the ball. And he said, "What can I do to hit the ball?" And his coach told him, "You have to learn how to play out there and catch the ball first, and then they'll give you a chance to hit the ball." He learned to hit the ball, and he learned very, very well. He has been playing now for 8 years and gone through the Little League and the Pony League and high school, and now he's in college baseball, and he's over at PCC in Pasadena. They had tryouts starting in August, and they had cuts every single week, this coming week being the last week of cuts of players. 95 children trying out at one time. I say children, they're adults, 18, but at my age, children. And these kids are playing, and 5 hours a day of practice and working out and being judged every single day on their daily performance. You want to talk about pressure. Every day he came home, all he could think about is, this is the date of cuts. The first day of cuts that came, he called me, and instead of saying, "I made it so far," he said, "Mom, I get to play baseball another day." And that's how we looked at it, because he loves it so much that even one more day would have meant the world to him. So the cuts continued week after week after week, and he kept making it and making it. And every week after he'd make it, he'd say, "I still got to go work out. I still got to go practice with yet another coach to teach me to hit." And his entire days, he'd wake up at 6 in the morning and go to the gym, and he just put everything into baseball. He wasn't hitting well, though. And he said, "Well, what's wrong with me? Why am I not hitting well? I'm doing all the right stuff. What's going on?" And he was just really nervous, trying to please his coach and not be cut. But it almost became counterproductive. So I had to teach him, remember why you're there. You're not there to play baseball for your coach. You're there because you love baseball. You're going to have a lot of coaches. You've already had a lot of coaches. So you understand already that it's your love that got you here, not the coach alone. He's just your current teacher. So he got that, and he started hitting again, slowly, where he just got out of his head. And I had to say, stop thinking about this person thinking you're doing a good job, or that person thinking you didn't hit the ball. Just think of the bat and the ball, and your love for the game. So that started him hitting, and then his coach noticed he had a hitch, and his coach said, "Hey, you know what? You have a hitch in your swing. Why don't you come in a little early and I'll work with you?" So he did, and he went. And the last game he played 2 weeks ago, he hit a great ball out into right field. He got on first base. It was his first real good hit of the season. And then he's trying to steal second base, realizes he can't. He runs back to first base. He gets hit in the face with a mitt. His lip pops up. His head hits the base. He was out for a second. I get a call, "Meet me at Huntington Hospital." So there I am. I get there, and he's sitting with a neck brace on, a big fat lip, dirt from his chest on down, in a wheelchair. I'm crying. I look at him because the neck brace alone was enough, because you don't know what's wrong yet. I realized that that's a formality. They have to make sure everything is okay. And he's sitting there, he's like, Mom, but I hit the ball. I was like, great, but look at you. He goes, it's okay with me. I went off, I hit the ball. So I was like, wow, talk about passion. Talk about love. He didn't feel any pain yet. He was still on the high of seeing that ball go into right field. So then we're sitting there, and they finally put him in a bed, and we're waiting for him to get checked. And his dad didn't want to talk out loud to me, so he texted me. The coach said, I love this kid. I was like, wow. That's really cool to hear, because most coaches, they don't express anything. They keep you in dead fear of them. If my son listened to me the way he listened to his coach, life would have been different for him and for me. But I can't get it to work. But he does. Just say the word cut, and he'll do anything you want him to do. So then, after that, his dad tells me, well, you know what else he said? He said that everything I tell this kid to do, he does. And I thought, wow, what if my son knew that? He never ever felt that. He's just too busy being scared and worried about being cut. What if he knew how much love was there? And I thought, well, if it's there, he must feel it. So then he's back. He cannot play baseball for a week. He has to be cleared by the team doctor, which hasn't happened as of yet. He had a slight concussion and a few other things. His lip is better, though. The week goes by, and he just shows up for practice because he doesn't want to not be with the team. Thursday, he calls one of the guys. They had a game all the way out in Silmar. He wanted to go just to support the team. So he calls one of the players, says, can I go with you? They say, sure, just come to my house and we'll take you. So he goes. They get lost on the way. He calls the coach. The coach tells them how to get there about 15 minutes before call time. They get there at 10:02 instead of 10 o'clock. Their coach gets there at 10:30, gets the roster and when everybody arrived. And he looked at my son and the guy he came with and a couple of other people that were late. And he said, get out of here, you're suspended for a week. Just like that. My son calls me. I could tell he's holding back tears, but he's not going to cry in front of the guys. And he says to me, I got to come back home, I'm suspended for a week. He was devastated. Devastated. He gets home, he couldn't talk about it. I go to his room and I sit next to him and he started to bawl. Very few times have I seen my son cry, and every time I've seen him cry, it was baseball related. And once again, I had to sit next to him in the bed and listen to him cry and worry about how all his teammates now felt about him having to leave like this after feeling like he was on top of his game, after hearing his coach loved him. After all of this, he couldn't figure out how this could happen to him because he worked so hard. He's done everything right. How could he have looked at him and said, get out of here? Which is exactly what he did. Well, before he came, and I've gotten one of these phone calls before, by the way, so I'm pretty good at it by now. But before he came, I thought, Christ, why did this happen to him? I know that's his question, but it's also mine. What really went on? Well, that Monday, after Tarek was in the hospital, they had a team meeting. And the coach said to the players, hey, you know what? If I could have 19 Tareks, I would have 19 of them on this team. And he said it with my son there. Well, after that practice, the guys started walking around going, well, he's not so great. Well, he hasn't been hitting. Well, blah, 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 blah. And they started cutting him up, and it was causing a division between him and his team members. The next day, he started telling me what people were saying, and he said, you know, I'm not really comfortable in whatever. And I said, okay. So 2 days after that, they were coming home from something they were doing, and I thought, wow, that's kind of weird. You know, college sports is a little iffy. You never know what players will do to each other when they're competing for spots and whatever. And I said, wow, God, do something. And the next day, my son was suspended, so it looked kind of like something bad happened. And then Christ said, no, the best thing that could have happened, happened. He could have played anyway for another week. He wasn't even on call time. He was just going to watch the game. He could have actually gone any time. But his coach knew what people were starting to say. And so he just made him a team member again. He just made him like the other guys. Nothing is as it seems. So, of course, I went to my son and I said, this is a good thing that happened. He's like, right, how? Are you crazy? And I said, no, I'm not crazy. This came to you from love. How does he love me? He hates me now. He looked at me and told me, get out of here. I said, yeah, because he loves you. He knew what was going on. He just evened the playing field. He let you be one of the guys. He knew he probably shouldn't have singled you out and said, I want everyone to be like you because of your commitment. And now they know that you're not an exception, that nobody's an exception if you're not an exception. Because, well, that doesn't really make me feel any better. I can't go to the field for a week. He said he knew you couldn't play anyway. He just gave you your time back. Mind you, it's still very hard for him. This morning was still very difficult for him because now he's got to face a week of not going. But what I learned from that, and one thing I've been saying for a while now, is we can always go back to the fork in the road and redefine the path with love. When there's pure intent between people, when there is love between people, it doesn't matter what it looks like in that day. Find out why that happened instead of curse what has happened to you. Because there's always a path that can heal you rather than just say, well, look at what he did to me now. All my coaches do this and do that. And those were the rants he was starting to play in his head. In his heads, I should say heads plural, because I think he had 3 of them for a while. But in truth, when we are faced with something or someone who comes to us, it really isn't as it seems. They may have been mad already before they even got to you. We take things so personal that we feel unloved. Because we think love is a car, a bikini, a new toy. But love really is how we talk to each other every day, how we look at each other, cooking in your home, and the kids smelling the food and anticipating their meal. When someone's sleeping on the couch and you cover them with a blanket and they look like they're asleep but they feel the love. They wake up feeling loved. Picking up a bag with someone instead of walking ahead of them and letting them carry too. Love really is our first language. Love is the common language between all of us. And love is never, ever misunderstood. If we trust we can go back to the fork in the road and we choose the path of love, that's when each and every one of us heals. And it is a choice. It's always a choice in any situation. The last place I thought I would find love was on a baseball field. I had to tell him, your coach still loves you. And if he didn't, he wouldn't have even paid attention to you being